Hello, everyone. Hi, Dave. How
Ernesto,
are
how are
you?
you? You always look stressed. You'd think you've been doing something like 47, 48 shows on the trot without taking a break. I think that's what the story is. You just look like you're a little bit, afro.
Well, yesterday I was working on a very nice medley or tribute to all the 47 episodes, 48 episodes that we have
Wow.
done. And it was very interesting to see pictures, well, the videos of me from episode one, which I had really short hair until now. So it's really crazy. So if you guys are going to be with us on Friday, you're gonna love what we are preparing for you. We have great names. We have
Oh my goodness.
it's going to be amazing. So make sure to be on Friday with us, same time. 50 episodes. That's a hell of a milestone.
It's incredible. I mean, but the names that have come back to us and said, yes, we'd love to, and sent videos through already are just to die for.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's just incredible. Now, some of you might go, "Oh, you've not got Michael Jackson." Well, nobody gets Michael Jackson now, but we've got some of the biggest names on stages. I don't really want to hint at it without going for it, and I don't want to go for it because you've got to watch it to believe it.
Yeah. Today we're talking about risk, and talking about risk. I was I was listening to the to episode 28 of the podcast. Because of course, I mean, when we're actually doing the interviews, we miss a lot of times and a lot of stuff that we were saying. And I was listening to Frank. I don't know if you have heard of that podcast, but it's really.
You know what? I listened
scary.
to 29, and Frank was 29. On that as well, so he gets everywhere.
Yeah, that is correct. It's very scary. I mean, if you have not prepared yourself for identity theft, that's a really interesting podcast to listen to. So make sure to listen to our podcast or go back and see the episodes. bit.ly toilet paper podcasts. So
every morning.
we have a very interesting day today. We're going to be covering risk. And I love that picture that we have there. That they are doing Ski Dubai in just on top of the Palm Jumeirah, which I think is great. And for me, that is absolutely not a risk. It's something that I definitely want to do. I haven't done it because every time that I'm in Dubai, I am so busy that I haven't done it. But I think, Dave, you have to do it as soon as we're out of lockdown.
Kiss it if you want it to happen. I am not doing that. I don't like heights. And I'm sure the video will be fantastic, but all you're going to hear is a black man going, but a silent scream. This will be the face on video. And then I'll be like a human pigeon before I hit the floor.
Can you do it again, please?
Yeah, ready?
Yeah.
That'll be it. And in fact, it'll be worse because I'll have the G-force in my cheeks. So I'll be like, So have a wonderful time jumping. And on the bottom, if you don't turn into pizza, I'll have a beer waiting for you. How does that sound?
That sounds awesome. Well, that's not the kind of risk that we are referring to. But, we have been now, actually, let me see my counter, because I think the counter is just really important. So I didn't change it from yesterday. So right now, this is 52. So this should be day number 53.
Oh my goodness.
53 in captivity. I like to call it captivity because that's exactly.
Well, it is, but marriage can be like that in some cases as well. So I suppose it's fair enough. Not that I would say, because mine's fantastic, but yeah.
So yeah, I mean, once again, we have to actually figure out exactly what risk is. And if we think about it, I saw a really accurate cartoon talking about the people which are just complaining about, we have to, nobody's going to tell me to wear a mask, and nobody's going to tell me to do this, and nobody's going to tell me to do that. There's this guy talking about freedom, and he has his rifle, and he's, nobody's going to push anything throughout my throat. Next thing you know, he's with coronavirus.
Well, I watched a video this morning. It's from London, from people protesting about the fact that they're losing all their rights and it's becoming like Nazi Germany. And the next thing is 5G is gonna make everybody sick. and the whole point is to break away your freedoms, and people are going to start going missing and all the rest of it. And it was just hysteria. Now, I mean, there really are people who think that this is all just a game, though the governments have got together to trick everybody. And whatever the source is of the conspiracy, of the reason why it all started, it doesn't matter. Stay safe is the bottom line. I'm not going anywhere until I know that it's clear. End of. Why? Because I know even if it's boring, I'll survive.
Exactly. I am in the exact same way of thinking. I mean, I like also this meme that I saw recently also there in Facebook. I will not be attending the grand reopening of the outside next month. And yeah, it's true. I mean, I think this is exactly where I am also myself. I mean, you know what, if you can avoid it, it's fine. It's also, but you know, in the other side, I also have these people. Okay, we're getting close into the summer, and this is the way that they're going to go to the beach, because of course that's the way that they think that they're protecting themselves.
Because quite clearly the sand and the sea are being diagnosed as great ways to catch the virus. So I can understand that.
So yeah, but I mean, you if you think about it, there's a clear misunderstanding on what risk is all about, and this is exactly what this entire episode is. It's going to be about. I think it is absolutely worth understanding what's going on, and we have to take some risks, because of course we are entering a complete new world, and I think that's what we're going to be helping everybody today. I have a really nice video that basically mentions how we need to change our mindset before we can actually start going through. How can we adjust our skills? And I think that will be a very nice video to set up the entire show. Let's have a look.
Essential services, remote jobs, and quick gigs are prevailing right now as millions of furloughed employees search for work.
Temporarily, you should be willing to take a job below your level.
Eileen Shiraga is a career counselor who says now more than ever, finding work is about tailoring the skills you already have to the jobs that are available.
The important thing is how to translate your area of expertise so that it lends itself to a teleconferencing remote situation. So you need to revisit your LinkedIn profile, because that LinkedIn profile needs to be adjusted to the world out there.
LinkedIn is helping to make the job hunt simpler by encouraging employers to use the hashtags coronavirus hiring and now hiring in job postings.
No matter what pandemic we're in, there will always be jobs for salespeople.
Shiraga says industries like remote customer service, pharmacy work, grocery store and delivery services are hiring in great numbers. Areas like telemedicine, tech, and online teaching are also bringing new hires on board. Luke Markland, CEO of the moving company Bellhop, says they too have seen a steady hiring rate.
While the virus has had an impact, the industry is still ramping up for summer, and a lot of the leases are expiring. So we are actively onboarding bellhops.
Markland says movers with the company are able to pick their own schedules, when and how they work, and are then assigned jobs based on their preferences.
Bellhops can make $20 to $30 an hour.
Jobs like this and information on how to file for unemployment can be found online on the New York State Unemployment Assistance website and on New Jersey's COVID-19 Jobs and Hiring portal. In Harlem, Charlie Cooper, CBS 2 News.
Really shocking to think about all that, but you know what? This is a world we're in now. This is a world we're going to have to get used to. So there we are.
And you know, I mean, also what makes me also a little bit sad, because of course, I mean, people have to reskill, and let's go a little bit to see some of our younger guys and people which are just getting graduated. I received this video that was shared by one of my friends here in Houston, and their daughter is just supposed to be coming out of graduation. I mean, she's supposed to go to her prom night, and she was just not able to even say goodbye to their teachers. And this is a weird world where we're living in. So I'm not going to show the whole video because it's very long. But I think that if you just see a few of the videos which are how sad the kids are, you're going to see. I mean, basically that will show you the tune in which right now people are in. Have a look.
I wanted to say goodbye to all of the teachers that have made an impact on my life.
Thank you for always pushing me to be the best version of myself and for always believing in me.
Thank you for letting me come by your classroom after school and for helping me make memories I'll cherish forever.
Goodbye to the best teachers at Cinco, Mrs. Tilke and Mr. Spear.
Shout out to Mr. Villafani for being the most amazing teacher. Thank you so much.
Ms. Postlethwaite, Ms. Shepard, and Mr. Mari.
Goodbye to Mr. Mark for being such a cool teacher. Goodbye to Ms. Lamb for being the kindest person that I know.
Bye, Mr. T and the entire janitorial staff. I know everybody at Cinco really appreciates everything you guys do.
Yeah, it's sweet, isn't it?
You know what? Two things. First of all, the fact is that nowadays a lot more schools are going to be online as a direct result of the virus. There's going to be a lot of people who are going to say, I'm going to homeschool for a fraction of the cost. And so that's going to be a natural way of saying goodbye to teachers anyway for homeschoolers, because they could be in any country. And it's going to be an online thing in many cases. The other thing that hit me was, supposing that heartfelt message was shared in the staff room and they're all sat there looking, and you're the teacher that didn't get mentioned by anybody. Nobody said, thank you for Jack to you. It's just like, I couldn't wait to leave. I hated you and I never want to see you again. You'd probably stop teaching, wouldn't you? So you hope that every kid remembers to mention everybody at some point. So at least you get one person who said, you know, they liked me. So it's a reason to carry on. Just a thought. Maybe it's just
it's a thought. Yeah, but once again, I mean, what we're trying to do is to make sense out of every single thing that we're happening. So in one side, we have all these things that we know that we need to reskill ourselves. We know that we have to add value to the organization. And then in the other side, we see all these kids, which, they did their entire school, and then suddenly they're going to graduate, and they don't really have a proper graduation. They're all sad because they're leaving. There's so much emotions. This is emotionally charged. And now, on top of that, we're going to be telling them that they have to take risks. Is it a good idea?
But that's life. You know, kids are adaptable. They get over stuff a lot better. They're actually a lot better equipped to deal with this stuff than we are, because they are so much more savvy to an online digital world. The changes that every business is going through, we're going to be talking about in this program, about reinventing yourself as an online digital version of what you normally do, is something that they've been doing for a long time, adapting from, and they have devices almost sellotape to their hands and their heads in what they do. So yeah, I do feel the discomfort of having to go through a digital farewell, but I also feel that they're equipped for what's coming up in the future, because now they'll be looking for jobs, university, and then looking for jobs anywhere in the world, as opposed to just being in their hometown, which is a very different prospect. Do you remember when you were that age? I mean, I was looking at those guys saying goodbye. They're all, about 17, 18, something like that?
Yeah, they're about 17, 18.
You know, I mean, I would happily take the discomfort of not saying goodbye just to be that age again.
Yeah, with all the experience that we have right now, it is absolutely true. Here, Brenda is sharing with us some really cool stuff. If you're not willing to risk the unusual, you have to settle for the ordinary. What a great quote from Jim Rohn. Thank you, Brenda, for sharing this information. Now, that's exactly what we're saying. I mean, we're living in a time where we were going at 80 miles an hour in the highway, and then suddenly we went into a complete stop back. And I was just working on a short video that I'm working on Friday, so that you will be able to watch it on Friday. And I'm telling exactly how coronavirus has impacted me. And the pandemic has impacted me, and we were basically hitting a wall on March 12th, 2020. And then we started seeing some of the weird things. I mean, this one definitely, for example, this one, I can associate with that one very well. That for me.
Well, you don't wear trousers at the best of times.
Sorry?
In fact, to be honest with you, you're probably like that right now, knowing you.
Yeah, well, not right now, but yeah, I mean, I have done it. So I have seen that kind of thing. And then we went into the craziness of, we want the toilet paper, and we're going to be now wanting the the different things. I mean, right now coffee is not there, and all sorts of things that you know how everything has been going up and down throughout the month.
Put that screen, Ernesto, put that screen up big and full so everyone can see it properly if they're watching it on a handheld device, because it's really brilliant. That one particular diagram is fantastic. So if you can bring it back, put it on a big screen, then I think it's worth just spending a few more moments looking at it. I love it. The journey. Absolutely. It's incredible all the stuff that we thought was really important hasn't been so important. And the world that we're in now it feels stable. It really feels like we've got stable in this weird weekend off way of living. I mean, it was something I was reading the other day. I think it was IBM did a survey, and something like 54% of its staff said that they don't want to go back to the office anymore. 70% said that they'd prefer to work at home, but would come into the office sometimes if they had to have a special meeting, and the rest of them were pretty much undecided. Now, that's an incredible statistic, even though those numbers for IBM saying, I really don't want to do an office thing anymore. And it makes sense, but one of the things that's really strange, and we're not going to feature it in today's session, I was reading about how South Korea has managed to deal with the pandemic and the laws that it's put in about how work can come together and the social distancing. But things like don't talk to people too much, don't get too close, cover your face, try not to make them laugh in case they spit. But these are things that will really break people's personalities. If anything, why would you want to go to work where you've got to walk in and act like a robot with a distance? Bring your own cutlery. You know, don't use anybody else's stuff. These are things that make sense, but they're horrible.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I mean that's why I mean we are trying to make sense of how fast we move from how everything worked to how things are going to be working in the future. Now we have also gone through a roller coaster of emotions. I mean. Gratitude, guilt, all these text, video calls, loneliness, boredom, at home, workout, endorphins, fear, hope. So all these things are getting people really anxious and really confused. I mean, we're seeing some people also, which I think taking it with a little bit of a sense of humor right now, that everybody's trying to get ready to leave. Right now, they're going to be having matching masks, which, I mean, 2 months ago, if they would have told me this, I would not have believed it in any way, shape, or form.
Do you know what's really weird? We're going to have matching masks and we're going to have matching gloves, and it will be like superhero convention every time you go out. People will look like they're trying to be superheroes. It's weird.
Yeah, do you know which one is I think, and for me, one of the weirdest? Everybody says that 9 months from now, there's going to be a lot of, it's going to be the Corona generation, because of course, a lot of people are going to be busy because there's only so much Netflix that you can watch. So there's going to be a baby boom kind of thing. And I don't think so. I just absolutely don't think so, because I don't think in the middle of a pandemic, the exchange of bodily fluids is going to be first priority for people. No matter how close they are.
Well, we can't mention the term Pornhub, but I think a lot of people will get married to themselves, because that would make a lot more sense, actually hooking up with people. Because let's face it, I mean, the culture has changed so much. When I was going out and having fun, and I was like 18 to 21 or whatever it was, you'd go out, you'd have a few beers, you'd meet people, and whatever would happen. At some point, you meet somebody who you really like, and you hold on to them, and you end up with a full-time, if not a permanent relationship with them. This is looking at the fact that the very basic of having that kind of relationship run the risk of you catching something because you don't even know what they're like to have. And it's not even a case of, taking protection. Your protection is wearing scuba diving kit when you're talking to somebody. So then expecting them to suddenly hook up and let's go for it, I'm not convinced. When there's a vaccine, yes. Right now, can't see it.
This TikTok video is brilliant. Just listen to it.
Nice to meet you. I'm Sashal. Sashal, that's a cool name. Did your parents give you an interesting middle name too? Yeah, a lot of people hate their middle names, but I actually think mine's really pretty. It's Distance. Distance? Sashal Distance? Yeah, and hey, meet my sister, Quarantina.
Sashal Distance and Quarantina. They're going to be the next.
There you go. Exactly. And well, that's not going to happen, but there will be some interesting spin-offs that go into people's normal conversation that might well turn into something like that. We just don't know. It's what was ridiculous 2 months ago. Nothing seems ridiculous now at all. Everything seems a possibility.
Let me see if you don't find this ridiculous, because this is also another one that has to do with risk, and you're going to find this absolutely insane. And I know exactly the question that you're going to ask me as soon as we finish watching this video. So
Wow. He didn't look very happy at the end, did he? You know what? The only thing missing from that video is when he turns around at the end and he's got a gimp mask on with a ball gag, then it would all suddenly make sense. But the rest of it just
I have
really
an important question for you. I mean, if this is actually the world that we're heading in, what's going to happen with all those dodgy massage places?
I have no idea. I've never been to any. But I'll tell you what would really be interesting. Have you ever been to massage chairs where you sit in them, you put in like, I don't know, $25 or something, and the chair moves up and down and massages your arms and your legs and does all that kind of stuff for you? That they'll become more popular, but they'll have to be wiped down every time, because whatever you do, I mean, they've got a rake. He's got a rake, a garden rake. Is there anything from a garden that he hasn't actually brought in for this person to... You know, I'm hoping this is actually a joke and it's not what somebody's ordered, because that was before the coronavirus actually kicked in, and this is what he pays for, because that would make sense in many cases, but not us. Yeah.
Look at that.
Can you stop the video? This is freaking me out now.
I don't think that I want to get any massages right now anymore.
No. I feel like it's somebody who's just had a fantasy in IKEA and paid him some extra money. They've closed the shop and he's having his party. It's not good.
Absolutely not good. Now look at that. They're gonna burn all the towels and everything that they were using.
Oh dear. No, I'm not in a hurry.
So are we on a crazy world or what?
It's looking a bit crazy, and you managed to catch me out. I didn't think anything would shock me, but that has clearly disturbed me a lot. I'll never look at masters dressed as superheroes ever again.
Oh yeah, that's absolutely true. So we have already experienced all those things. We know that this world is changing. We have seen our entire lives change within a matter of a month. So how can we actually cope with risk? Which I think is just the most important thing, because I think there are a number of risks that are still worth taking. So I have a list of different risks that I think are worth taking still, and then I think you're going to be sharing with us first of all risk as an art form, and then we're going to be also seeing how to get it implemented with some teachings from Jack Ma, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Jack Ma, and I'm also going to share 10 ways to start a new business and reduce risk by the do's and don'ts that you should do. So yeah, let's start off with the first of the things you mentioned.
Okay, perfect. So let me just get you. This is a list that I compiled about 10 risks that are worth taking. I think still it is okay to pursue your dreams. I mean, I have seen a lot of people which are very disappointed and they're very depressed because they think that now after the corona they're not going to be able to actually pursue their dreams. I think if you change a little bit the way that you are creating your life, you can definitely continue pursuing your dreams. Might not be the same as you were thinking. You will just have to possibly adjust. For example, in my case, one of the things that we have discovered is that right now we are not only speakers, but we're also broadcasters. Right now, I feel myself in television, and that is also fulfilling one of my dreams. Another of the risks, which is definitely worth taking, is ask. Right now, we need to ask. I mean, you should not be fearful. You should not be fearful for rejection, because right now, I mean, Dave and I have seen it. I mean, we have been asking a lot of people for different things and whatever, and everybody's very. I mean, not everybody, but let's say 90% of the people that we talk to are very open. So that's also great. So make sure that you take the risk and ask. Don't fear for rejection. Try something new. I think that's definitely a risk worth taking. Try something new. Right now, we have to live in a complete different world, so don't be afraid of trying something new. Don't be afraid of actually missing out. Don't risk on missing out a few things, because of course you have to start doing a complete new reinvention. Let me tell you one example of that. We've been now in lockdown for 55 days. And I've been missing a little bit on actually being with my family. But in reality, this time that I have spent with you guys on the Toilet Paper Diaries and with you, Dave, it has really helped me reinvent myself. And this has been very, very fulfilling. And I think it's going to be very important for my life. Make sure that you risk telling people that you love them first. This is a big lesson that I have learned. I mean, right now, one of the things that I have done as much as possible, not only to my family, but also to my friends. I mean, I like telling everybody how I feel for them, that I care for them, even if I don't get anything in return. For me, that has been a very important thing. So risk that. That's an important thing. Now, this is a very important risk to speak up. You have to speak up. I mean, you have to speak up. You can say whatever you think and whatever you should not be afraid of saying how you're feeling. Don't bottle those feelings up, and try to get people that understand you, so that you are okay. I mean, I'm not telling you that you're going to go and protest in the street, because of course you don't want to be in lockdown. But I mean, try to understand how you're feeling and try to express them and find somebody which is going to actually help you. Don't worry about being inadequate. Risk being inadequate, because right now, possibly you do not know how to use Zoom. Possibly you do not know how to do a video like what we are doing, or a show like what we are doing. But this can actually change your life. Risk, even if it is inadequate at the beginning. I was watching yesterday some of the first episodes of the Toilet Paper Diaries, and they were crap. I mean, they were not crap, but I mean, they were not as good as they are right now. I mean, right now that I see them, I see the tremendous growth. So make sure that you are okay risking inadequacy. Risk being turned down for a job. And this is also going to be very important. Many of you might not be with a job right now, and you're possibly afraid of, oh my goodness, if I apply, they're going to reject you. Right now, you might be 53, 54, 55, and you think you're inadequate, or you possibly are going to be rejected. Don't worry about it. Risk it, because that's the kind of world that we're living in. Risk putting all on the line, which is right now what in some ways Dave and I are doing. I mean, we're putting everything on the line, because even though we do not know what's going to happen afterwards, we believe, we have that faith in ourselves that we're going to make it happen. And last, take the risk and the full responsibility of your own happiness. You are going to have to live with whatever this world is going to be giving us. And if you don't risk trying to make everything that you can and trying to be happy, it's going to be challenging for you. So those are my 10 points that I suggest that are risks worth taking.
I love that. I absolutely do it. I'd love to have a copy of that, even if you just take a photo of it and send it to me, because that's so important. There's so many things on that list I actually wanted to comment in, but I didn't want to ruin your flow. One of the things that you said is about, just generally, it was all about risk. Asking yourself, what's the worst thing that could happen before you take a risk? Because once you've done that, you've worked out what the worst is that could happen. The odds of that happening are very, very small. But if it does happen, you're all ready for it. And there's three things you mentioned, but one thing that really jarred with me is you said if you're about 53, 54, and you're worried about your job, then, take the take the risk. But here's the thing. If you create an online business, you suddenly become neutral on age. Nobody's going to turn you down because they've got a pension plan. They've got to worry about your illnesses and all the rest of it. They want your expertise. And it suddenly resets. The digital world resets your ability to get stuff done if you can be savvy online. So don't worry about being too old. It's all about the delivery of the content and the stuff that you're meant to do for contract. That makes a big difference. So I think that's a massive opportunity for older people worried about getting employed. Stop worrying about it. Get online. Put yourself out there as a freelancer or a business, and I think you reset the balance on everything. Because I've got 2 videos to share. And before that, actually, we could go on to the one with Jack Ma to make sure I don't repeat any of this stuff. Are you ready to show the Jack Ma one?
Yeah.
Which is 5 tips for entrepreneurs. Because what you've talked about specifically is about the risks that you take. What I want to say is if you're starting your own business and you're becoming an entrepreneur for the first time or an existing one, then this is what this section of the show is going to be about. Watch this.
Executive Chairman of Alibaba Group, Jack Ma.
Should be optimistic, always optimistic. A great entrepreneur is optimistic for the future. And you have to ask what problem you can solve, how you solve it are different from the others, why you can do better than the others. You have to find a group of people working together with you. Those people believe the same vision. Those people coming to join you not because it's a job. This because they believe the dream, they believe the mission, and they believe the vision. And don't have to find, there's no best people in the world. There's the best people is always working with you in your team. And train the team, work with the team, the team also will train you. Do not think what I will get. You have to ask what I will give. Should I win in 3 years or 10 years? If you have a great idea, prepare for 10 years. You're lucky if you win in 1 year. But most people will not have this opportunity. Don't say, I want to win next month. I will succeed next year. Impossible. Forget about it. If you think, I will win this in 3 years, prepare for 5 years. My first round money I gathered from 18 founders, $50,000 US. We thought this $50,000 can last for 10 months. We even count every cent we spent, but only last less than 4 months. We're almost bankrupt. When you know what will you give up, then you will be able to get something. One of the reasons why we succeed 18 years ago because internet was not hot at that time. E-commerce was so cold. Nobody believed it, but we believe it. We don't care what other people say. We think it has a future. We think it will help people. So we started. When everybody say yes, there's no chance for you. So be unique. Use your mind. Think why you can do better. Why you can do different. Why you can last for 10 years. Why the other people can only last for 1 year. Don't wait for the environment to be ready. Don't wait for all the policy ready. When everything's ready, there's no opportunity for you. You have to move faster before the government take action. You know, if I do this, if the government say everything's ready, you should move to the other area because there's no chance for you.
Very amazing. Cool. I love that guy. It's fantastic. Can you hear me okay, by the way? I'm not sure if my signal.
I can hear you very well.
Okay, perfect. What I want to add to that is 10 things that are do's and don'ts if you decided to start your own business, you got an existing business, or you're thinking about doing a side hustle just to make sure you got regular income coming in. First of all, when you're starting up your business, number one, do it for passion, not for the money. I know ultimately you want to make money to make it work, but one of the things that's really changed now is now you're living in your home and you're eating the food and ordering it in or whatever it is. You don't have to think about the glamour of looking great and buying the most expensive stuff, because it really is about what's comfortable here, not just about making tons of cash. So that's changed quite a lot as well. Also, use automation whenever possible. Don't have to do it all yourself. There's tons of apps, tons of systems that you can use, even if you're on your own. You can seem like a big army doing it. One of the things that always hit me was about WhatsApp. When it got bought by Facebook for $4 billion or something like that, it only had 13 staff working for it. Can you imagine that? 13 staff? Because they'd done such a great job of creating this algorithm that looked after everything. Number 3, aim to diversify whenever you can. Don't just put all your eggs in the same basket. See if you can have several different streams of income, several different pillars, because life changes. Somebody will come in as competition who might price you out the market. Make sure you've got other things that you're working on that you can fall back on that still keep you going. Do something you know about. Number 4, make sure you're always aware about your business. Don't throw yourself into something you're not passionate about and you don't really know much of, because it will come out that you didn't do it and you will get stitched on prices and also in innovation. Number 5, use free marketing programs whenever you can. Social media being on top of the list, but also use blogs, use whatever you can to push your name out there. You don't have to spend a fortune on Google ads. Right now it's still on Facebook ads, TikTok, LinkedIn, still cost effective, but you can create that reputation just by creating wonderful posts all about your stuff as an artist and practitioner. Number 6, don't outsource all the jobs that you could do yourself. Certainly you know what your hourly rate is, but you might become brilliant at doing other stuff. Don't have sandwiches delivered. Well, right now you have no choice but to get them delivered. But if you can do certain tasks yourself, save the cash. I promise you, you will need it. Number 7, remember the customer is king. Study customer service. A very good friend of ours, Ron Kaufman, is one of the world's leaders on customer service. Read his stuff. Honestly, if you get the customers happy, then you'll be happy. They'll look after you. Number 8, learn new skills. Get coding, get into design, training, speaking, all these different things. Get your hands dirty in all the things that you might normally outsource or look for a member of staff. If you start your own business, learn these skills yourself. Only outsource it when you already know that it's better for you to spend your time doing something else than doing that stuff, because you'll save yourself a fortune. Number 9, keep marketing message simple. Keep the elevator pitch as simple as you can. I mean, I do a number of different things, but whenever anybody asks me, what do you do, Dave? I do motivational speaking, and I train people to be motivational speakers. So simple, they get it. So make sure your message is simple. If it's not understandable, they'll go to somebody else whose message is simple. And last, number 10, from a dear friend of mine, Les Brown, stay hungry. Really, never settle. Always keep pushing yourself. And this is the thing about being an artist. You want to make sure that you're uncomfortable all the time. Stay uncomfortable. Stay in your discomfort zone, because as soon as you start resting and going, you know what, we're okay, that's a recipe for disaster, because people are more uncomfortable, will push harder, go past you, and suddenly you can become obsolete. If you're always pushing yourself every day, and we do it with this show, every day we try and outdo each other, not so much each other, we try and outdo the show before to make sure we can bring you better content and a better show. So those are 10 things I'd recommend if you're starting your own business that you should really consider to push you and motivate you in a world of risk. Now,
yeah, I love it. I really like that point about the outsourcing part. I think right now people are outsourcing. Well, I don't have time to do this. Well, the truth is, let me give you one example, which I think it's incredibly, very applicable for what is going on right now. Previously I used to say, well, let me just outsource all video editing for other people. And right now, even though I still outsource some of the video editing that we do, one of the things that I really said to myself is I want to learn how to do it. And right now, because of the video editing, we have that I understand a lot better. I have figured out a new way of art form to actually deliver content in a more dynamic way, like if it will be a TV show. And the way I think of myself is I think of a male Oprah, kind of thing. And I am already doing that. I mean, my perception of me being a speaker has been completely reshaped in my head. So what are those little bits and pieces that I require in order for me to get where I want to go? So right now, what Dave was saying is, I think it's genius, because I think the fact that if you understand how you would like to be in the conditions that we're in, and you take the risk to start doing things in a following Dave's advice, I think it's just a winning strategy. So very nice points, Dave. You have a great video, Dave, on risk as an art form. Can you tell us about it before we actually jump into it?
Yeah, this was actually filmed by Ernesto and I last week, because you may not know it, but we're into a form of parkour, which is jumping off buildings and doing crazy stuff. And now this is not something I'd recommend. Don't try it at home, but clearly Ernesto and I are at peak fitness, so for us it's like water off a duck's back. But whatever you decide to do with your particular business, we've already talked about it this week with a Renaissance, treat it like art. And if you're going to go for it as art, really go for it. Go for it and take the risks. Now, you'll see, if you've got a challenge, you're thinking, well, I don't know if I should do that. People might think it's ridiculous. Watch this video. See how many times that Ernesto and I and the guys who you see risked dying. See the exhilaration, enjoy the adventure, and start applying the energy to your own business after the show's finished.
Do you want us to get down? All right, we'll get down. We'll get down. Sorry, we're done.
UK.
You know when we recorded that, Ernesto? Yeah, it was. Remember, you know exactly where it was because we recorded it together. This was actually recorded during the lockdown in Dubai, and Ernesto and I went shopping, and this is the result of it with a couple of friends. There you go. You know what? In that video, you don't even see it. I broke my nail. This one here. It was when I landed on I had to pull myself up. Pull my nail. It really hurt.
Yeah, it's just, wow, look at that. Now they're really getting down.
But there you go. Whenever you decide to grind yourself, think about what these guys do for their art form. And the thing about the challenge in this, apart from the fact it's completely ridiculous and you should never probably ever do it, is every year, every video, they push themselves to be better than the other guys doing the videos. And that's what makes it scary, but really exciting at the same place. Are you with me, Ernesto? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I love it. I think it's great. So these guys are from. They're from. That's in the UK, right?
Asia. It's coming out soon as well.
I think this one's not the UK. I mean, these guys happen all around the world. Parkour is the massive thing. And what I find so fascinating about it, apart from the point of view and wearing the cameras, is there are no safety nets. Any accident that happens, that's it, goodbye. And if you want to look up on YouTube and see the ones that go wrong, people die. It's end of story. But when it does work, it's just the most exhilarating thing. And you look at the Avengers and the special effects that people go through, these guys are doing it for real. In fact, there's a couple of scenarios you can see where they're dressed as superheroes. There's one in particular where they're escaping from zombies, and it's all done like this. And it's just phenomenal. It's so well choreographed. There's nothing like it. It's really good, but not when you've just eaten your dinner and you're watching it, because you will not keep it down.
Thank you. We're getting some more messages from Brenda. Thank you, Brenda, for actually feeding us some really nice quotes. She says that Dennis Waitley says, life is inherently risky. There is only one big risk that you should avoid at all costs, and that's the risk of doing nothing.
I agree with that.
That's absolutely correct. Great quote. And Dave, we are again reaching the end of the show.
No.
There's a video that I've been saving for a special occasion because it's very powerful. I mean, one of the people that I have learned the most in my life is Tony Robbins. And normally when there's something crazy like what is going on happening, he creates some beautiful videos that really make you think. And this is one of them. So let's go and watch, and we'll see you tomorrow for episode 49.
No. 49. Oh my goodness. You know what? At episode 50, I've just had a message sent to me by WhatsApp saying a new contact is going to join us on the show, who is the CEO and founder of the biggest startup of all time, the biggest tech startup of all time, had $1.67 billion at the launch, and he's now going to join us on the show on the 50th episode.
That is fantastic. So we have CEOs, we have owners, directors, royalty. Oh my God, it's going to be amazing. Anyway, let's just go with Tony and Sage Robbins. Have a look.
Hey everybody, it's Tony.
Hi everyone in Sage.
Listen, we just want to send you a message of truth in the midst of all this uncertainty and fear. You know, the beautiful gift of being human is that we're resilient as a species and we're really adaptable in our nature. Life doesn't always get easier. In fact, it rarely does. But we're often called to become stronger and more resilient, and this is one of those times. Nothing's ever wiped us out. We're part of the essence of life itself. When we quiet our mind, we start to recognize the miracle of life within us. And ironically, what we really need is usually just below the surface of our fears. So the question is, how do we make our way through these uncertain times? And the answer, of course, is we must use our God-given power of faith. This is not a religious statement. It's simply a statement of understanding our true nature. Look, we're all born with faith. We don't have to learn faith because the truth is we couldn't function without it. I mean, think about it. Basic things you do every day. How do you drive down a highway with nothing but a painted yellow line dividing you from crazy people in cars that are hurtling headfirst to you at 65 or 70 miles an hour? And you know that every single day people cross that line and they kill innocent people just like you and I. We all know that some percentage of those drivers are drunk, some are not going to be paying attention, they're texting, some might actually be falling asleep. So we know the facts. The facts are every single day this happens and people are killed. In fact, 1.4 million people will die this year in car accidents around the world. That's more than 3,200 people a day. That's like a 9/11 every single day around the world. And yet, we still drive. We're not shutting down driving. We're not saying, oh my God, we can't drive. Let's keep everybody from driving to try and keep those numbers down. Why? Because we have faith. That doesn't mean that we don't work and be smart. It doesn't mean we don't prepare ourselves. It doesn't mean we don't do what's necessary. But you know what? All of us inside know that this faith is required for life to be fulfilling, for life to move forward. Listen, without it, you can't leave the house. So why do we drive our cars? Why don't we just stay home? Because we know the consequences of not leaving the house is to have no life. No faith equals no life. We know being stuck or frozen in fear is not an option. So what do? We choose to move forward. We choose to be certain. in the face of uncertainty. That's what faith is. We choose to have faith. And you know that at our core, we're more than anything we'll ever face. We know this. We know we can handle whatever life brings to us. We always have and we always will. That is the power of the human race. We don't let the possibility of challenges or pain in the future keep us from living our lives today and working to build a better tomorrow. And you know what else? It's possible to transfer your certainty when you grab it and activate it to other human beings and help them. It's also possible to produce uncertainty and unnerve them. It comes through in our voice. It comes through in our physical presence. In fact, you don't have to be in someone's physical presence. They can hear your voice from a distance on an audio and a voice message. They can see it in our face. They can feel it in our thoughts. They can notice it in our writing, in our emails, in our texts, in everything we're a part of. Why? Because human conviction has a viral effect. It spreads from one individual to another. We all affect it. You can see this with infectious laughter. You get somebody's laughing their tail off, even if you're not feeling that way. After a while, it's like stop and you start to laugh. Or maybe you've been in a room, somebody starts to yawn. In a few minutes, 2 or 3 other people are yawning. Stop yawning. And we see it in the stock market. Whether it's running up or tumbling down, there's a herd mentality in most human beings. When we're uncertain, we look to other people to figure out what to do. That's what most people do. But that's not what leaders do. Leaders produce certainty within themselves. Now, don't get me wrong. We all have a 2 million-year-old brain. I do too. We all do. And it's our survival instinct that gets triggered by these fearful and uncertain moments. You know, what should we do to protect ourselves? Do we freeze or do we fight? Do we give up or push forward? We either lift each other up or we drag each other down by our level of certainty or lack thereof. You know what? It's all a choice. So today, maybe it's time we become conscious, you become conscious of your power and remind yourself and those around you that the human race is resilient, it's flexible, it's strong beyond imagination. That doesn't mean we don't educate ourselves and prepare ourselves or train ourselves for challenges. Of course we do. Anticipation is power. It just means we need to discipline our fears. And every day we gotta stand guard at the door of our own minds. We can't just let anything in. And we don't let ourselves overreact or give things a magnified meaning or an exaggerated risk that puts you in a state of such fear that you only think of the worst case scenario. If you only think of the worst case scenario, you'll do nothing. So those who constantly look at the worst case scenario often will say, but I'm just doing it to protect people. No, you're taking people down. First of all, the worst case scenario almost never happens. And second of all, when you constantly focus on it, it affects you and it affects the people around you. It depresses people's minds, their emotions. It can even depress their immune system. So listen, today is a chance for you to start brand new, to step out of the fear that the natural human instinct, don't get me wrong, it is our natural instinct to protect ourselves, to do what's necessary in the moment, to look out for ourselves. But we're more than our instincts. We have consciousness. We have the ability to choose. We don't have to live in fear and picture the worst scenario. That doesn't serve, that doesn't create a way to live your life, and it certainly won't help anybody that you love. So today, lead, don't follow. Lead with the truth of our essence, that faith and certainty are our natural birthright, and our infinite abilities. At any moment, we can awaken that fact, we can activate it. So live the truth today and show everyone around you that we can solve any problem we face. The human race always has, and it always will.
Thank you, Tone. During these times, it's important for us all to be reminded that life circumstances are meant for us to be experienced, and that there's grace amongst the chaos. The grace of us uniting and coming together and looking out for each other, and serving and loving and supporting each other and those of us in need. You know, there's many stories of fear out there in the media right now, but there's also many beautiful stories. You know, a friend of mine the other day sent me a clip, and it was of this family in Italy. They started to play a guitar and another one started to sing and to create music, even though they were quarantined. Through that music, they brought harmony, they brought joy, they brought light to each other. It's a beautiful thing of the human spirit. We as humans are one of the most complex, powerful, intelligent systems ever created, more brilliant than we could ever even understand. Is what most of us don't realize is that we don't only have a physical immune system, we also have a spiritual and emotional immune system that supports us as well. But throughout all of life, we're all called to adapt and find kinder ways to evolve emotionally, and that allows us to deal with external circumstance with more grace, as long as we don't get stuck living in our minds in fear. Our power right now is to have our own clarity of mind rather than getting pulled into the group mind of fear alone. You know, during these uncertain times of social distancing, it's also a gift to remember that we're all interconnected, whether we're in proximity or not. We all affect each other at every level, and we're truly one. You know, we're all being called right now to unite together, and as we do, we are truly collectively greater than any challenge that comes our way.
So our core message to you is don't let fear control you. Do what you need to do to keep yourself healthy and strong. Look out for those you love and those you meet. Take advantage of this time to be together. Take a breath and connect. And just remember, we're not weak. Our immune systems have evolved over millions of years, and we as human beings have the capacity to deal with anything that's put in front of us. So live strong, live with faith, live with passion, be well, and God bless.
I'll do the same thing tomorrow. Sit here on my butt and eat a churro. That seems fun. I've got 7 Zooms tomorrow. They'll say words like circle back and cash flow to everyone. All my kids wanna play all day. I'm working, and we made the same mess as yes.